Kitesurfing in Tarifa while escaping the northern European winter sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But here is what it really feels like to kite here in wintertime. It's wild, and if you're thinking of learning to kite here, you might want to watch this first.
Not possible. The waves got too big for me. But at least I tried.
Ollie and me have spent over 10 months in this little town on the Strait of Gibraltar over the past few winters. And this is my take on kiting, on life, and on what makes Tarifa special, even when kite dreams may keep you waiting.
Welcome to my kite surfing in wintertime in Tarifa episode, which is gonna be all about kite surfing. So it's gonna be about the spots, the beaches, the wind situation, the rescue boat situation, because there's a rescue boat situation going on, and also about how it feels to actually live here, because there is a great vibe. It's this little cute city between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic, and then you see on the other side Morocco. It has some mystical energies going on, and the kiting is like wild.
But let's go.
Can you actually learn kite surfing in Tarifa? Well, it's definitely not the easiest, but it's doable. So if you're a little bit tougher than me, you'll do it.
So what you want for learning kite surfing is flat and shallow water, no current, consistent wind, and enough space without other kiters running you over. Tarifa offers usually none. I am usually pretty sporty and learn fast, but learning here didn't happen in a few lessons. It took a lot of time, different spots, and letting go of expectations. And still I just managed the water start. Nonetheless, people do learn here, even in winter. Further down the road, I will point out 2 beaches that make it a bit easier. If you already ride confidently and riding back and forth is starting to be a bit boring, Tarifa in winter becomes your playground. Here we see what people refer to as Balneario. This spot at the lighthouse jetty has flat water and attracts really good riders. Just look at this. However, you may feel intimidated to kite here or find it too crowded, or maybe you just don't want to follow the somewhat stricter set of rules here to make the small area work for all. Los Lances.
Here we are at Los Lances.
Los Lances Sur and Norte are massive and placed right in front of Tarifa.
This is the beach in Tarifa directly. Right now there's like big puddles or also lagoons, and sometimes you have to put off your shoes and yes, to come to the place. But today there is no wind, but a lot of waves, and I'm gonna check them out now. It's just so much space. If it's windy, you have kites here, of course, parked everywhere, even in winter.
Los Lances, white sand, turquoise water, a ton of space, but a lot of chop, gusty winds, and oftentimes punchy waves. But if you happen to have a rental car, there are many more options around that work in different conditions, oftentimes better than the beach just right in front of town. Here is how to pick your spot based on wind. There are 2 prevalent wind directions in Tarifa, Levante and Poniente. In Tarifa, Levante wind takes you straight out into the ocean, while Poniente will be more side onshore. On Levante, rescue boats operate on Los Lances and Valdevaqueros.
When I first came to Tarifa, I was just like the first thing I heard was that there are rescue boats. You have to have a rescue card, and if something goes wrong, you get fished out of the water, because on Levante days, which is offshore in Tarifa, you just get dragged out on the Atlantic.
Well, it brings the rescue costs down to around 25 instead of 150, or potentially more if you get saved your life, but not your kite that now is happily sailing to Morocco.
Crazy. I've actually never witnessed it. It's the first time that I witnessed it.
Sometimes the wind can be too strong for Tarifa's Los Lances.
Now, here the wind is really picking up. Usually the beach is completely covered in kites, but right now it's a little too windy.
Yes, it can happen. Palmones near Algeciras is the go-to backup. A 30-minute drive, less gusty, small sandbank, side onshore wind. But if it's really the only option to kite wind-wise, the smaller spot can get really crowded. With a sandbank and flatter waters and less punchy waves, it is one of the 2 beaches that feel a bit more beginner-friendly. Arte Vida. Arte Vida is technically still part of Los Lances. It's the northernmost stretch and it feels a bit more wild, more immersed in nature. Pine trees grow all around and the beach here is narrower than in town. Sometimes it's covered in stones, sometimes not, it really depends. After a storm you can find whole fields of rocks like here.
Lots of rock on the beach. But this is due to a big fat storm that was here.
There are also some larger permanent rock formations hidden in the water, so it's a good idea to check things at low tide. They're not always visible when the tide is high. Valdevaqueros. Valdevaqueros has tricky shore winds. Beginners may have difficulties keeping the kite in the air and actually getting out. But once out on the open water, the wind becomes friendlier than in Los Lances and the water is flatter. Sancti Petri. About 1 hour toward Cadiz. It works well with Poniente. On low tide the water is usually flat and even on higher tide you can sometimes find low waves. There are stronger currents though.
Perfect. Because of that stretch in front, it just feels a little bit more safer. That's very good for the head because you cannot drift out to Africa. Sancti Petri is definitely one of the most beginner-friendly beaches here around in Tarifa. But of course it doesn't work in all conditions and it doesn't work in summertime.
Also, Conil de la Frontera is supposed to offer good conditions, especially when the lagoon fills in. However, we have never kited there, so if you have, let me know in the comments.
In Tarifa you'll find many kite schools and plentiful, and they also operate in the winter time. And yes, the instructors are great, they know the conditions, they know where to take you for the current conditions. Yes, for me it was super surprising that there's no really group lessons unless you bring your own group. And so it's more of a private lesson, and the private lesson costs around 120 euros. Renting stuff is about 70 euros a day for all the stuff and 350 for the whole week.
Tarifa's winter can be unpredictable in terms of rain. For the most part, it is surprisingly sunny. Until all of a sudden those apparently obligatory 2 to 3 weeks of partially really heavy rain every winter, usually around March, drop by. From November to March, daytime temperatures in Tarifa range between 15 and 18 degrees. Nights drop to 11 to 13. And the water temperatures are between 15 and 19 degrees. Not freezing, but definitely wetsuit weather. Most people seem to use a 4-3 wetsuit, however.
I am super glad that I invested in a 6-5 because I would definitely be freezing otherwise, but I don't know how the people do it with a 4-3. Are those polar bears or what?
Now that we know all about kiting, let's see what it actually feels to live here. This winter we came with a van, and it's great and super practical for kiting. But there are plentiful options, from Airbnbs to rental flats via Facebook or Idealista for longer periods, to hostels, hotels, campgrounds. Also, as you can see, van life works in winter. On this channel I share our van life journey. Tarifa will be up next. It will be linked in the description below as soon as it will be online. Feel free to check it out. I'll be happy to have you there. In Tarifa you'll meet people from everywhere. Most speak English. It's a big international crowd, which is great for making friends, but not ideal if you're hoping to practice Spanish. My favorite picks for food are Chilimosa for veggie stuff, Pizzeria for, well, it's pinza, not pizza, and Sola, Banti or Powerhouse for breakfast. If there is no wind, there is still plenty to do. You can hike the Buddha Trail, ride horses to the beach, play padel, dance bachata, or just chill on a hammock, stroll through the super cute old town, have another coffee at the Chiringuito, a beach cafe, have tapas, shop in the old town, or shop for kite gear in one of those 1,000 kite shops.
You can also take the ferry to Tangier, Morocco, which is very close. Or you go to Gibraltar, and then you can see the monkeys. You can do climbing if you're interested in that, surfing in El Palmar. Or you can visit Cadiz. It's a super beautiful city. There is of course Sevilla, Malaga and Granada. One thing I unfortunately won't be able to share about much is the party life in Tarifa. Party! Can you party in Tarifa in wintertime? Yes, definitely you can. But I can't tell you much about it because I never do that. But it's said to be a decent party city also during winter. There's always something going on, even if it is a realist place in a jacuzzi with 8 people, right? There's always something going on.
Tarifa, this little town between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic Ocean. With Morocco so close you sometimes connect to the Moroccan mobile network, really has it all, especially in winter. But it isn't just wind and waves, it's magic. Many people that come here once come back again and again, and then suddenly they live here for real. It has something wild, free and easy in it, and it pulls you in. So should you come to Tarifa for kiting in winter?
If you like it wild, if you like it rough, if you like a lot of chop and waves, you're absolutely right.
If you want smooth and beautiful riding experiences, maybe not. But if you're ready for adventure, for challenge, for wild beauty, then yes. It changed me. Maybe it'll change you too.
Thank you so much for watching Moose Stories, and if you liked this episode and you're interested about more van life in Tarifa, also during the winter. Those are gonna be the 2 upcoming episodes on this channel. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm gonna check them and answer them. See you in the next episode. See you on the road. Bye.